Hello and welcome to Third Power Life. Wanted to share a kind of cool parent moment this morning that turned into a little bit more talking about fear with my 11-year-old son. So listen in.
So, the big question is this: how are successful professionals like us going to keep increasing our business success and yet still have a full, balanced, and vibrant life that we absolutely love? That is the question, and this podcast will give you the answers. I'm Dan Gentry, and welcome to Third Power Life Podcast.
So one of the things that I absolutely love to do is every day I drive my boys to school. And we get some actual alone car time, especially for my 11-year-old who I take to middle school after I drop my older son off at high school. And this morning we were going, and there's an airport close to where we live. And we saw this plane kind of taking off. He goes, "Oh, look, a Cessna." He's really into like airplanes and cars and any type of vehicle. So we're driving along, and he sees it again. "Oh, look, there's another plane." I'm like, "Actually, that's the same plane. Looks like they're doing touch and goes, where they basically fly around the airport. They go land, then take off, and then go around, land." And it got me thinking that that's one of my goals in life, is to get my pilot's license. It's something I've wanted to do for a long, long time. And I know that he's flown small planes more than I have with the Young Eagles program, which if you have kids from 8 to 18, they will do free flights. Look up Young Eagles in your area, and it's a club, a flying club that does it. Fantastic programs. My 11-year-old has already logged like 8 hours in a plane. Anyway, really cool. But I said, "So, are you going to go get your pilot's license with me?" And he goes, "No." I'm like, "Wait, what?" This is the kid that for your last birthday you wanted the steering, the thing for your flight simulator in Microsoft Flight Simulator, and you don't want to go get your pilot's license with me? What's up with that? And so I said, "Well, why not?" He's like, "I don't know." So I'm like, "All right, I know why." So I'm like, "All right, so tell you what would be good about getting your pilot's license? What would be good about that?" And he's like, "Well, it'd be cool. You can go places." All right, cool. Yeah, it'd be neat. A whole different way to travel. So why would you not want to get your pilot's license? He's like, "I don't know." I'm like, "All right, yes you do. Let's think about this for a minute. Why don't you want to get your pilot's license?" It's like, I don't know." I goes, "It's because you're afraid, isn't it?" "Yeah." And I'm like, "So what could you be afraid of in getting your pilot's license?" "Crashing." And I'm like, "Okay, let's break this down for a minute. And how many times have you flown a plane?" And he's like, "I don't know, a few." It's like, you've been in a plane probably 15 to 20 times, either big ones or small ones. How many times have you crashed? Never. I'm like, all right, how about this? Is it safer to be in a car or in a plane? Statistically, in a plane. And yet we get in the car every day. You've been in a car thousands of times. How many times have we crashed? Never. And so the likelihood of crashing is what? He's like, "Oh, I don't know." I was like, "It's almost zero." The challenge is with the almost. I'll give you that. But we can't let fear paralyze us. We just can't. And he was like, "I guess," the 11-year-old non-committal, and I'm like, "All right, do you know that fear has a purpose? Do you know that fear is a good thing?" And he looked at me with that, what do you mean? I said, fear is important. Fear, it's a good thing that you're afraid of crashing. Why? Because that's going to make sure you train well. It's going to make sure that you know what to do in an emergency situation, what to do, what happens if the engine cuts off, how do you handle that? In all different scenarios, you're going to study more. You're going to take it seriously. That's what fear is for. Fear is to reinforce us, to make sure that we're doing what we need to do. What we can't let do is have fear paralyze us. Use it. It's a tool for good, right? And I said, do you think I'm afraid? He's like, no. It's like, I am afraid every day. I feel fear every single day. I feel fear every time I get in the car. I feel fear every time I lock up the house. I feel fear every time I do a presentation. Every time I'm doing a video, I get fearful. And you know what? That's fantastic. It's something that I use that fear to make sure that I do a good job, to make sure that I'm aware when I'm driving, to make sure that I've really secured the house for my family. I make sure that I'm delivering for you right now. That's what I use fear for. And it's great. And and he's looking at me like taking it in. It was awesome. One of those awesome parent moments. And then we're getting close to the school. And I go, so let me ask you this. Do you know what courage is? What being brave is? He's like, well, I was going to say courage is like being brave. I was like, well, what is being brave? And he's like, well, it's kind of hard. It's like, not being afraid. And I said, that's a common thought, that if you're brave, if you have courage, you're not afraid. The reality of it is, it's impossible to be courageous, to be brave without fear, right? If you want to walk to the mailbox, is that a brave thing to do? No, there's nothing really to be afraid of. It's right there, right? But if you're in war or you're going to fly, there's some fear there. Courage is feeling the fear and doing it anyway. And that's what being brave is all about. It's being afraid and still doing it, using the fear for its intended purpose. That's what being brave is. And, and I could tell that he was really taking it in. And I it's one of those times where you kind of get like the little goosebumps because you're saying a truth, and I was saying it to myself as much as him, because I do get, a little bit afraid when I get on here or when I do these other things. There's that fear there that I might, the imposter syndrome, right? We all have that, or I hope we do, and it's okay. We have to use it for its intended purpose. Have that fear make us better. Make sure that we're doing all of the pieces that we need to do. We just need to make sure that we don't get paralyzed by the fear. And we ended with, as we're pulling into school, and I'm like, so, you gonna get your pilot's license with me? And he's like, yeah. And so I go, so that's the, I heard this whole talk you gave me, and I know I should probably say yes, but I'm still afraid. Is that what you're thinking? He's like, yeah. I'm like, that's fine. I'll take it. But we'll continue this more. And I know for sure that he and I are going to go together to get our pilot's license. It's something that he wants to do. He just has to get over that hurdle of fear. And, being a parent, that's part of my job, is to help him over that. For you that's listening to this, I'm assuming you're not 11. If you are, awesome. But but I'm still here to help you get over that fear, because we all have them. And so many times we let those hold us back. We don't take the risks that we need to take to really have that life to the third power, right? And so, I want to tell you, feel the fear and do it anyway. Be brave. That's what it's for. Use it. Use the fear for its intended purpose. It's there to help you. Just don't let it paralyze you. Sound good? All right. So I would love to hear it, if this help inspired you to take a little action, let me know. Take like a screenshot of this and post it on social media and tag me at Third Power Performance. I'd love to hear your stories, because I know you have them. We all do. Overcome that fear. Let me know something that you've done this week, today, to overcome a little fear. Make that phone call, write that letter, create the presentation, make a decision, do something, overcome the fear, and be brave and live your life to the third power. All right, until next time. I'm glad that you enjoyed this podcast. I'd love to hear what you got out of today's episode. So if you could please take a screenshot and share it to social media and tag me at Third Power Performance on both Facebook or Instagram, at Third Power Perf on Twitter. I would love to hear how it's affected you, and I would love it if you would subscribe. You can click the button right there, or to get more episodes, you can look at our featured video right here. And you can also check us out at www.thirdpowerperformance.com.